Ladies and gentlemen, Legionnaires, welcome to segment one, my overview of Dead Reign. Now, Dead Reign, zombie motif, zombie game. Now, is it good? What are the zombies like? Are they Romero zombies? Are they fast zombies? Are they virus zombies? Are they rage zombies? Hey, you know what? We're going to find out. But first, we're going to go over the background. How did this come about? And that'll answer some of your questions. We'll get to that right now.
We believe that role-playing games should take place in fantastic worlds. The focus of the game should be on role-playing and having a good time. The core values of #RPGate and any good tabletop group are escapism, not representation, entertainment over activism, and natural, organic inclusion, not forced diversity. The charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national, nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the description below for the link to where you can make your hopefully tax-deductible donation. Join us Thursday and Saturday evenings on twitch.tv/Legion of Myth to watch Heathen Dog and his team of dirty casuals play multiplayer games for your mockery and enjoyment. Here on our YouTube channel, you can watch these game-related segments live every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Time, or check out the Friday night show stream where our panel of guests opine, comment, and editorialize on the TTRPG hobby as a whole. Please like this video and leave a comment to appease the algorithm gods. Share this video on your favorite social media platforms to help us peer out of the shadows cast over us. And if you have not done so already, please subscribe to Legion of Myth for more tabletop RPG goodness.
Okay. Now, I want you to take a good look at this art because this is the best art in the book on the cover right here.
Are you serious?
The art in this book is not great. I'm telling you right now, it is not good.
I don't even like that cover.
Well, this is what you got.
I mean, I do like it in the fact that it evokes the whole concept of a horde of zombies, but right. To me, it's too dark. I would rather have it a little more photorealistic than that. Looks a little too cartoony for my taste, but it is what it is.
Okay. Well, first off, we're going to start with the background. What happened to this world to make this whole zombie apocalypse thing come about? Well, let's find out. This is a great picture. I like this one. This is the second best picture in this book. Oh, it's so cute.
It's pristine and pure.
And then you got this. All of these guys in the back. That's not great.
Very Walking Dead-like.
Yes. Yes. Very much. All right. Now, in the beginning, there was the wave. The wave is a plague, a sickness that spread across the planet. People died very quickly, and it was very efficient. It started off, guess where? Without reading it, close your eyes, guess.
Plague?
What country?
United States.
Nope.
Really?
Try again. Better guess.
Wuhan. I mean, China.
Yes. Yes. In a matter of days after the first reported mass outbreak in Hong Kong, hospitals around the world filled up with sick people. So many sick people, they lined the floors of the hospital halls, waiting areas, and even tents in parking lots and parking structures. Here's the deal. It moved very quickly, made people very sick, didn't kill them right away. They lingered on for days and days and days and days, sometimes weeks, to take up all the hospital beds. And then they started moving people to stadiums. They started moving people to grocery stores. They started moving people to filling up local clinics, filling up, what was the other one? Well, anywhere where you could hold people, YMCA, gyms, whatever. And then they died. Nothing could save them. They just died. A very large portion of humanity, something like 20 to 30%, died in the wave. The thing is, the moment they died, within 6 to 12 minutes, they all got up. All of them. And started killing people as zombies. So it wasn't like Night of Living Dead or in 28 Days Later or whatever.
It's 6 minutes later.
Yeah, it's basically, yeah. I mean, when you get sick, within 24 hours you die, and then you wake up as a zombie minutes later. That's not how it worked with the initial plague. It No one died until enough people were sick, and then they all died at once, and they all got up at once. So it's understandable how zombies could have taken over everything, because it was an instant, you know, 50 million plus army that came out of literally nowhere with no warning. No one was prepared. And the problem with this is all the places you would go for help are instantly overrun with zombies. Your hospitals, your clinics, your police stations, your fire stations, they all were fit to capacity with sick people. And now they're fit to capacity with murderous zombies. There's no help for you.
Was it only this plague that caused people to turn
Yeah.
into zombies, or did every sickness started causing people to turn into? Okay.
No, only the plague. And after the first awakening, when the first wave of zombies, the 50 million zombies woke up, the plague died. It petered out. It died. The only way now to become a zombie is to be killed by a zombie. Killed by a zombie, not bitten, not scratched, killed. Because Palladium zombies don't really, for the most part, care about flesh. They care about PPE, but we're going to get to that in a little while. And it talks about who done it. The cool thing about this beginning of the game, it gives you a whole bunch of options on why this is happening. What could possibly have caused this plague? It gives you a bunch of ideas. Theory number 1, pandemic. It was a viral thing. It had a DNA alteration thing in it, and it turned you into a different kind of life that wasn't really life. I don't know. It's magic. Shut up. Another one, wrath of God. You know, if you believe in God, God no longer believes in you, and he sent this. Death cults and dark magic. This is Palladium world, right? I mean, just because there's no high amount of magic doesn't mean there's no magic at all. Beyond the Supernatural proved that, right? So maybe it's a death cult that actually succeeded.
Is this in the same universe as Beyond the Supernatural?
No.
Okay.
No, this is a different universe. Which one was number 3? I didn't see number 3. Oh, germ warfare. It was a plague very much like The Stand, where it was a manufactured plague, accidentally got out. Oops, our bad. Oh crap, now we murdered the entire world.
As
So
somebody who had to go through a lot of that training when I was in the Air Force in the 90s, learning about what the Soviets, or Russians, and Americans unofficially and Chinese and so forth were doing with bugs out there. Wuhan's nothing. COVID,
no. Nothing.
There are world-ending germs out there.
Yeah. That I am absolutely certain that, smallpox only exists in one lab in the US. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. I don't believe that for a second.
Maybe for the US, but it probably exists in one lab for China, one lab for Russia, one lab for
Yeah. That's and there's someone in the world trying to make it weaponized.
And that smallpox isn't smallpox. That's smallpox mixed with the flu, mixed with Ebola.
Mixed with a cold, mixed with Ebola. It's going to be that. Yeah. It's going to be crazy. Okay, the zombie apocalypse. It says here, it's amazing how fast human civilization came apart. Well, no. I mean, after the preamble I just gave you, 50 million zombies rising at once, most of them in the places where the people who protect you live, it's not surprising at all. It is not surprising at all, even though most of them are slow-moving Romero shamblers. It doesn't matter. When you're surrounded by 50 of them, you just die. You die. But I've got a laser sword. I'm a Jedi. No, dude, you're dead. Sorry. There's 50 of them around you. You've lost.
They just hogpile you.
Yeah, they're just gonna dogpile, and it's gonna be it. And then we get to the after effect. After everyone started getting sick, it took about a week for them to die. But like I said, they all died at the same time. But during that week, when there was a breakdown in law and order because the emergency services were so flooded and at capacity that people started looting and rioting. You know, the normal human bullshit. People start looting, rioting, taking water, hoarding food, batteries.
That would never
whatever.
happen. Did you see the Summer of Love?
It just happens every time. That's all. And then the dead rise. Unlike today, where the dead rise only a few minutes after a person dies, during the wave, it took several hours for the dead to rise. But when they rose all at once by the tens of millions. Like I said, it was almost as if there was a mind behind this, a controller, someone pulling the strings, controlling this this wave of plague sickness, because all of the zombies in the initial end of the wave rose up at once. I don't believe that's coincidence. But in your game, it could be coincidence depending on which beginning you as game master decide how it came about.
Could you hint at all the beginnings and just let it be vague out there, like nobody really knows?
Yeah, you could do a Walking Dead thing and like, no one knows. Well, people who knew, they're dead now and they're not talking. So yeah, there you go. See, this is the level of artwork we have now. This is the rest of the book. This is actually one of the
is
better
that because
pictures.
it's just stuck in that black? Remember, he talked about that whole black and white thing. He wasn't allowed to do grayscale, so it all ended up being a bunch of dots.
Well, no, just the drawing itself is bad.
Fair enough.
The drawing itself is bad, so that's why. Let's see. Zombie pox begun. Those we turn to in a crisis were the first to fall. Worse, a short time after they are slain, the cops, soldiers, heroes, and good Samaritans join the undead. 1d6 plus 6 minutes. After a zombie kills you, you wake up as a zombie. Every time.
It's a quick turnaround.
That's bad.
You're not even cold yet.
Very bad. It's a horror movie come to life. Yes, it is. It seems unreal, impossible, yet it is real. The dead walk and they slaughter. Let's see here. Mysterious illness driving some of the sick to mindless violence, but it's just conjecture. This is the beginning. You know, in the beginning, reporters saying, "Oh, it's mass hysteria. Oh, it's some kind of rabies type thing where it makes people lose their mind and start killing people." And then toward the end, they realize, oh crap, they're actually dead, because pictures of them getting lit up with automatic weapons. And all that happens is they stumble back and for a second and then start moving forward again, and no blood comes out. They're like, okay, well, maybe something else is wrong here. And by the time that connection is made, the internet stops, TV stops, all of it stops, and you're boned. Just boned. Army and National Guard are dispatched to some cities, but since many armories, government buildings, and military facilities had already been helping with the wave, guess what? They actually let the zombies in inside the wire. And then when they all woke up, they killed all the people with guns and tanks and APCs and rocket launchers. All these things would be useful. But they're all dead because they were helping with the sick people. When the sick people turned to zombies, they all died. Then it goes into, this is still the first 24 hours. Imagine, if you can, the madness and chaos. Who do you turn to for protection when the police are gone and 911 doesn't do nothing? Where do you take the sick and injured when the hospitals, churches, and schools are under siege from the inside or have become places fully of the dead? What do you do when the fire department doesn't respond to anything? All emergency vehicles go silent after a week-long cacophony of noise during the wave. How do you know what's going on in a city hall is in flames, your leaders are missing, and your cell phones, television, radios all go dead? We've become an information-driven world. We are reliant on using cell phones, TV, radio, computers, and the internet. We are also used to having information with the click of a button. We expect to reach our friends, loved ones in the outside world with a simple telephone call, email, text, or blog. When we lose our means to communicate with the outside world, the world shrinks to what we can see and hear, usually up to a few hundred yards. And then you start feeling isolation. Because your world begins and ends with anything you can get to without dying, which is not a lot. Because at this point, 1 week later, after the dead have risen, 70% of the world is now zombies. Yes, it went that quickly, but it's understandable. It's like dodgeball. 2-for-1s are easy. Here's an example. It's actually in this book somewhere. I'm just remembering reading it. You, your wife, and your child are hunkered down in your house. You've been there for a week, but you're running out of food, you're running out of water since the tap doesn't work anymore. And your wife is sick. She just got sick. It wasn't part of the wave, but she just got sick. You need to get her medicine, but you also can't leave her here because every once in a while there's zombies that come in and try and get in your house. You still don't know how they know you're there. I'll get into that later, but sometimes they just know you're there and you have to defend the house.
So
you have to
hiding in a closet doesn't work?
Apparently not. It all really depends on the size of your house, but hiding behind walls doesn't help a lot of the time. So what do? Well, you got to take them with you. The only way to defend them is to keep them close to you. So you, your wife, and your child go out just 5 blocks down to the pharmacy. That's all you need. 5 blocks to Walgreens or CVS or Rite Aid or whatever to get what you need, and your wife can live another day. Well, you get halfway there and you see a cop. His back is to you, and he's reaching inside the back of his cop car. You're like, so you go up to this cop, and you're like, cop, help me. He turns around, he's dead. He grabs you by the throat, and for some reason, he's strong, real strong. With his other hand and his mouth, he starts ripping and biting into you. You die.
Is he fast?
No, he's not, but he grabbed you.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
did not
and to
expect
be
him
fair,
attack you.
you're not going to expect that. I get that. I was just curious if
He
they're...
got initiative. He held you, and you were not strong enough to get out.
Got it.
And now he ripped out your stomach and he bit your neck, and you're dead. Your wife with a bat tries to come up on this zombie and starts beating it. It's not super effective. And then she gets into another car and hides with your daughter. A couple minutes later, you wake up and you're now a zombie. You beat into the car by breaking the windows and such. You grab them. They are not strong enough because you're stronger now than you were when you were alive. They're not strong enough to fight you, and they die too. 7 to 12 minutes later, they both wake up as zombies. That was a 3-for-1 right there. And that took all of what? 12 minutes? In 12 minutes, the zombie multiplied his numbers by 4. One zombie turned into 4 in 12 minutes, just like that. It is not hard to imagine 10, 20 million zombies turning into a couple of billion in just a few days. It's not hard to imagine, especially high population cities and high density countries like China and India. Not hard.
Especially places where they leave their dead out anyway.
Yes. No, this is the whole story. Little girl, there's your daughter. She's a zombie now. Yay. That's great.
I can make her well again.
Yes, you can. Sure you can. Now, there is a special kind of OCC in this game called Reaper. A Reaper is an OCC specifically made to kill zombies. You have all the skills and training necessary to kill zombies. Obviously, if you're playing day 1 Outbreak, you're not going to be able to choose Reaper because no one knows how to kill zombies yet. But month 6, month 12, you can have a Reaper OCC. And this is the idea of the whole Reaper thing, the Reaper survival guide. What works, what doesn't. Now, your game master can choose to let your characters know what works, what doesn't, depending on the information you can get or the time frame of your campaign. If you're day 1, he gives you nothing. You get nothing. You have to learn. It's all OJT now. On the job training. That's all you get. But if you start the campaign in year 2, year 3, year 4, this information is going to be a little more widespread. You're going to have experience under your belt. You've survived for 2-3 years already. You know more of the score. Stay away from larger cities. And this is when Detroit had 900,000 people. It doesn't have that now. Closer to 400,000 to 500,000, maybe
Really?
less.
Has it lost that much since this game was put out?
Oh yeah. Detroit's a shithole. It was like, Detroit's not so bad. They never walked it because there's a 10% chance you just die. Larger cities with heavy populations like New York, Baltimore, Chicago, whatever, fare the worst. The dense populations of these communities meant people were packed like sardines in a can. The zombies slaughtered and feasted on living before anyone recognized the threat. Remember, in a large population density, when the hospitals are full, the clinics are full, the local stadium is full, people just had to keep the sick in their homes. And remember, they all became zombies at once when they died. That means every single apartment complex was a little jail cell with at least 30% zombies inside, right? Everyone in the apartment died. Everyone in the hospital died. Everyone in the stadium died. And all those zombies come out into the street, just flooding. It's a shit show, all of it. Millions upon millions of zombies. And you see this pointing thing that doesn't really happen. But it's hard to represent visually a blood-curdling moan. So I get it. But again, when I get into zombies 101, we're gonna talk about that. The woods and remote areas are the least populated by zombies because they're the least populated by people. So less amount of people you start with, the less amount of zombies you can possibly have. But getting there is the problem. It's not just getting out of the city. That's the problem, which is hard enough. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the roads are jammed with cars, abandoned cars. And all those abandoned cars have zombies just waiting. Under every car, under every blanket in the back seat of every car, there's not a zombie everywhere, but there could be a zombie anywhere. So that's hard enough to get supplies as it is. Getting out of the city, most large cities are surrounded by suburb cities. And these are almost just as bad. There's a high, not as high as a city, but still a high density of people. And it's in between you and the relative safety of the rural area. If you can get to the rural area or you start off in a rural area, well, you're doing great. You're already ahead of the game. The one thing you lack is information, but what you lack in information, you gain in safety. And now the wave is over. Like I said, once the first zombies woke up, the sickness died. The sickness was gone. Now it's just zombies, which is bad enough. And of course, there are people who go crazy. People whose minds break when the world ends, especially now because people in the West are now much mentally much weaker than they used to be. So a lot more will break. And then you get raiders, you get death cults, you get zombie sympathizers. You know, what I mean by zombie sympathizer is someone whose husband or daughter, whatever, son turned into a zombie, and this woman constantly feeds people to her zombified family, hoping that he'll get better.
With just enough brains, he'll revert back.
Yeah, cuckoo bananas, but she's lost the plot. A lot of people do that. Reapers kill them too. Without remorse, without regret, because they are a hindrance to good and decent folk who can still think clearly.
Gotta interrupt here. Yuang says, don't forget zombie perverts. You know, there's going to be that one guy that just doesn't care.
That is true. That is true. And funny thing, you cannot be turned into a zombie unless you die within 300 yards of a zombie. So, yeah. I mean, it's still a dead body. There's diseases and plagues and pathogens that dead bodies have that you probably want to use protection for whatever you want to do. Like gloves are a good idea, or other things, because the hospital's closed. You're not going to get that Cipro. All right. Then we have a story about Thump in the Night. Again, this is the level of art we're looking at now. The Day the Dead Rose. It's still on the web if you can get to it. Accounts and video footage of the zombie apocalypse. That the internet gave the first actual video truth, because all of the mainstream media on TV and radio didn't want to report it because it was so ridiculous. But the internet
this game wasn't written after 2020.
Yeah, the internet specializes in ridiculous, so it goes on there first.
Kevin's got to redo this game for his second edition.
Again, look at this art. It's getting worse as you go in the book. It's getting worse. I don't like it. I'm gonna stop about the art. Look, now it's like a comic book.
I wonder if that was the intent, because, Kevin, one of the things he does do in his games is, if the game, how do I say this? Using my words, if the game can be found a little more in reality, like in this case, not the zombies themselves, but the cities, the concept, and so forth, he tends to make it a little bit more cartoony, just to let you know it is a game. Riftseed doesn't have to do that because After the Bomb, he doesn't have to do that because But even with Beyond the Supernatural, I kind of found that some of the artwork in there, at least inside the pages of the book directly, was a little more, had that cartoony feel to it, just so this is a game. Now, I don't know if that's intentional or just the way I perceive it, but I'm wondering if that's the choice he made there. So
it could very well be.
So you're not actually scared by zombies.
There you go. Oh my God. So that is going to be it for the background. Next, we're going to go over Palladium Zombie 101. Exactly how do Palladium zombies fare against what you know from pop culture stuff like Night of Living Dead, Walking Dead, 28 Days Later? How do they stack up? How do they compare? Are they harder? Are they easier? Are they scarier? Can you train them? We'll find out
after we go through these comments, which I only have a couple. Kokoshuko says, I like how it's left. This is talking about the backstory.
Yep.
I like how it's left mysterious, but give you some rumors. Yeah.
Yes. I like how it's up to the game master, and he can change it every game if he wants to. I mean, in the original Night of Living Dead, it was a satellite that was irradiated and came back down to Earth, and the radiation spread across the planet and caused the dead to rise. In 28 Days Later, it was a rabies-like virus that was tested on monkeys and transferred to humans. In what do you call it? Give me another zombie movie.
I don't watch zombie movies.
Okay, well, anyway, you get to choose exactly your brand of apocalypse. How did it start? You get to choose. I like that. I like that a lot.
Crafty says, I think that's Kevin's favorite sentence to write. It's surprising how quickly civilization unraveled after the events of insert Palladium setting
here. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And insert name here says, let's ask the important question. What happened to the pleasure bunnies?
Oh, they didn't make it. They didn't make it because, here's a quick spoiler for the next video. Zombies also eat animals.
Oh. Poor pleasure bunnies.
Yep.
All right,
pleasure
with that,
bunnies got gone.
Like, subscribe, share, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Zombies 101. You're going back to school.